Good day, friends. We are starting a new lecture series on personal financial planning. Friends, you may be the student of any of the stream, whether you are a student of science stream, commerce streams, humanities, liberal art. For each and every one of us, the subject personal financial planning is very important. This affects everyday's life. This affects every individual. Those individuals, those people who make their financial goals clear and who make proper planning of financial objectives, financial goals, they never face any financial problem in life. And each individual has his own goal, has his own financial planning. It's a unique planning for each individual because whatever the financial position, when I use the word financial position, it means whatever the income level you may be having. It depends on your expenditure, how you manage your expenditure, how you manage your monthly budget, how you manage your family expenditure, how you make savings, how you make investments, and whenever you require any fund for a particular goal, that you should have enough fund so that you can meet out that objective, that goal. This is basically the subject matter of the financial planning. So, before talking in detail about the financial planning, let's talk of what is financial goals. As I just said, that each individual has its own financial goals depending on the income level, very importantly, depending on your monthly budget, your monthly expenditure, and how effectively and how efficiently you invest your savings that will help you in achieving your financial goals. So when it comes to the personal finance, everyone's situation is unique. Why it is unique? It is unique because the financial income, or I would say simply the income which each individual generates has accrued or which arises every month or every year or every week, right? Every individual has different source of income and different levels of income. When you are ready to take control of your financial lifestyle, you need a plan that will answer your specific problems, not your neighbors. Means each one of us has own specific problems. It will different be than that of your neighbors. So a financial goal is a target to aim for when managing your money. Whatever the money you are managing, what goal you want to manage, what goal you want to achieve by this money, the income which you have. So it can involve savings, means the financial goals involves your savings, that is the part of saving you set aside as, apart from the expenditure, monthly expenditure or monthly expenditure, the income which you generate, out of which you spend on your day-to-day expenses, and the whatever you save. So how much savings each individual makes, how you spend your money, what is your level of earning or even investing. When we talk of the financial goals, the gamut of investing is also involved in this. So usually for long term and yield returns, when you invest your money, your savings rather, that you invest for a long period of time and you want to get return out of it, you want to get a source of income out of your investment. So there can be various financial goals. I'll be talking these financial goals in detail, but just let me refer here. Your financial goals may be your children's education. As all of us know, the education has become very expensive, especially if you are teaching to your children, or if you are studying yourself, you are a student, you are studying in a private colleges or in the private schools, the education is quite expensive. So how much money you need for your own education, if you are planning for yourself, if your parents are managing the money, so the amount they have to spend on your education, right? So what are your retirement planning? You want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, you want to marry your children, or you want to make your arrangement for your own marriage if you are a independent person, financially independent person. So there can be different goals. Means that this much sum of money you need for a foreign trip, right? You are an earning member, you want that from your own income you should have 5 lakh rupees to go for a European tour, right? For this European tour of yours, you want to spend 5 lakh rupees. So how you will manage after 2 years you want to spend 5 lakh rupees on a foreign tour? So how you will manage it? This is your financial goal. You want to buy a car, luxury car, for which you want to spend 25, 30, 40 lakh rupees, right? So after 5 years down the line, if you want to buy a car of which will cost you estimatedly 40 lakh rupees, how you will manage your 40 lakh rupees, right? So you want to buy a house, there can be different financial goal. Your financial goal is to buy a house. So these can be the different, there are n number of financial goals I have just narrated and I'll be talking in detail. So these financial goals can be broadly categorized in 3 categories. That is short-term goal, mid-term goals and long-term goals. And friends, before explaining short-term, mid-term and long-term, let me tell you, there is no thin line on the basis of which I can say this is short-term, this is mid-term, this is long-term, right? Only we generalize that these are the short-term, these are the mid-term, these are the long-term goals. Like short-term goals means there are smaller financial targets that can be reached within a year, right? So your goal is to go for a vacation, right? You want to buy a bigger, say, television, like you say home theater, rather I would say, right? So for home theater, you want to spend 2 lakh rupees. This is your short-term goal. You want to buy a sophisticated computers for which you want to spend 1.25 lakh rupees, right? So these are the short-term goals. It can be risky if planned improperly, like the tendency to buy lottery ticket, right? So you say, if I get a lottery ticket, I'll buy this. Say, this is all probability, right? So this is not good financial planning. It should be within from your income, that your saving should be such so that within the year you can meet out that expenditure which you think that you want to spend. Say festival season is coming, so you want to buy a home theater. So for home theater, you plan in advance for 6 months, 1 year, that you will be spending 2 lakh rupees on this festival in this festival season, and 6 months in advance you plan for your 2 lakh rupees expenditure which you want to incur. These are short-term goals, right? So for vacation, television, buying a computer, home theater, or any expenditure for which cannot be meet out from your monthly income. Means, see, one is your monthly income, out of which you spend your kitchen expenses, your petrol expenses, your clothing expenses, which are your routine affairs expenses. But the expenses which cannot be meet out from your monthly income, but monthly income, a part of it is being saved, and within the years that much saving you want to accumulate so that you can meet out that expenditure, right? Say for example, if a person is making an income of 1 lakh rupees per month, and out of which the person spends 70,000 rupees as a monthly expenditure on his kitchen expenses, the petrol expenses, the clothing expenses, electricity, water, and all these which we call it necessity. And you want to buy a home theater which will cost you 2 lakh rupees. So for this 2 lakh rupees, you will have to make saving from the start of the year, so that by the time of the festival, that is normally in the month of October and November, right, you must have 2 lakh rupees to buy a home theater. These are called short-term goals. What are the mid-term goals? Typically, mid-term goals takes about 5 years to achieve, right? Again, I am saying there is no hard and fast line on the basis of which I can say this is mid-term, this is short-term. We are just generalizing that normally the goals which you can achieve in 4 or 5 years, right, that is called mid-term goals. So a little more expensive. And see, friends, what is expensive, what is cheap depends on your level of income. If your income is say 1 lakh rupees per month, and an expenditure of 20 lakh rupees is an expensive affair, right? You want to buy a car and your monthly income is 1 lakh rupees, and out of which your monthly expenditure is 70,000 rupees, you are able to save 30,000 rupees. For buying a car of 25 lakh rupees is a expensive affair for you. But a person who is making an income of 25 lakh rupees per month, right, for him or her, this is not an expensive affair, right? So what is expensive, what is cheap? It is a relative term depending on your level of income, your routine income, your monthly income or your annual income, right? So a little more expensive. Again, I have clarified this. What is expensive, what is cheap, depending on level of income, which you are not able to meet out your annual income. That I would put it simply, it is an expensive. Right? So a little more expensive than every day's goal. They are still achievable with the discipline and hard work, right? So as I just said, I want to buy a car of 25 lakh rupees, right? And my monthly income is 1 lakh rupees. I don't want to take a loan. I want to save that much money so that 5 years down the line, right, I must be having 25 lakh rupees. For what I will have to do? What I have to do is that this is my goal, to buy a car after 5 years for 25 lakh rupees. So I must plan my expenditure in such a manner that after the 5 years, I must be having 25 lakh rupees so that I can buy my desired car, right? This is called the mid-term goal. So saving for a down payment on a car is a mid-term goal. Like this example which I was just talking about, that you are saving every month so that without taking the loan, you can make a car, right, of say 25 lakh rupees. So this is your mid-term goal. What is long-term goal? This type of goal usually takes much more than 5 years to achieve. If a person has just got married, right, and the person is planning for his children's higher education, I would say it's a long-term goal, right? So that after 20 years, after 18 years, after 19 years, when the child will go to the college, he will have to make, you want that the child should get a foreign education. Or even I would say in the top institutions, in some of the private institutions, the higher education is quite expensive, even in India, right? So you want to make a plan that for my child's higher education, I must have enough savings. Say for example, you want to spend 1 crore rupees for your child's education, and when he will get the age of 18, right, or she will get the age of 18. So in the age of 18, you will plan in a manner so that this goal of yours, where you have set aside, at that time you will be requiring 1 crore rupees, you must have that much money so that you can provide good higher education for 2 of your children, right? So this is basically the long-term goal. Some examples of long-term goals of saving for a college education or a new home. You want to buy a home, right? You want to buy a home. Normally in a city like Delhi, or for that matter any metropolitan cities, even a flat of 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom flat cost 1.5 crore rupees, normal flats in the normal locality. So that you cannot meet out from your, if you're a middle income group person, you can't meet out your 1.5 crore rupees expenditure with your annual savings, or with 1 year saving or 2 year, 3 year savings, for which you will have to plan for 10 years in advance. And this, you want to buy a house, you have just start earning, you want to have a house of yours after 10 years. So you must save that much so that after 10 years down the line, you can meet out the expenditure of say 1 crore rupees. So that is basically the long-term goal. Now, in the series of the short-term, mid-term, long-term goal, we can say smart financial goals. What are how you make smart financial goals? When you make financial goals, your goals must be specific, precise. What you want to achieve. I want to buy a car which cost me 25 lakh rupees. It is a specific goal, which is measurable, that the car will cost me 25 lakh rupees. It is measurable. I'll say I want to buy a good car. Friends, there is no definition of good car. The good car may cost 25 lakh rupees. The good car may cost 2.5 crore rupees, right? So it should be quantifiable, which can be measured. Say for a middle income group person like me, right, I will say a good car will cost me 25 lakh rupees. It is a quantifiable goal, right? Achievable, not impossible. If my income is 20,000 rupees per month, right, and I am barely able to meet out my monthly expenditure, which are my necessity, right, for my 2 child's education, for my monthly kitchen expenses and basic expenses, right, and if I start planning for a 25 lakh rupees car with this source of income, and I am foreseeing in near future this income is not going to rise at that great proportion, right? So I would say it's a not a very easily achievable goals. So the financial goal which you set, it should be achievable, which is within your means. When I use the word within your means, it means you must be in a position to save that much so that you can achieve that quantifiable goal. That is achievable goal. Relevant means it must be relevant to your purpose, relevant to your objective. and it must be timed, right? Timed means there must be a time frame of completion. I'll buy a good car. Good car, when I'll buy? After 20 years, after 30 years, after 40 years, or after 5 years, after 2 years. It is not properly defined. If I say, I want to buy a good car, which cost me 25 lakh rupees after 3 years, I'll say it is timed. That my goal is, my financial goal is that I must have 25 lakh rupees after 3 years so that I can buy a car which will cost me around 25 lakh rupees. So it is time. I'll plan my expenditure, I'll plan my income savings in such a manner so that I have timely able to pay the money to achieve my goal. That is, it must be time. So these are called smart financial. Means smart financial goals means when you make financial goals, it must be specific. What you want to achieve, it must be quantifiable, right? I want to buy a home. Home can cost you 1 crore, home can cost you 100 crore, right? It is not measurable. You quantify that I want to buy a home which will cost me around 1 crore rupees. There may be 10-15% plus minus, but that approximately that will cost me 1 crore rupees. Achievable, relevant, and time. So, like, see, I've just taken an example. I've already given you example, but let me add further. It's like not like I want to save for my training. What training? How much I want to spend? To be specific, I'll say I'll put away Indian rupees 200 per month in my bank account so that I can have 5,000 rupees by the end of the 2 years. Right? So I'll save every month 200 rupees. In 2 years, I'll be able to accumulate 4,800 rupees plus interest thereon. So it will be approximately equivalent to 5,000 rupees, which I want to spend on my training. I'm a person which earns only 10,000 rupees per month. I'm hardly able to save, right? I must save this much money for this goal. I want to take a training. So this is smart. It is specific goal, precise goal, well timed. That time frame is 2 years. What is quantifiable? 200 rupees. What is my specific goal? My training, which will cost me 5,000 rupees. Right? So how I plan my saving? That I must save 200 rupees so that after 2 years down the line, I'll be having 5,000 rupees. So this is smart financial goal. I want to purchase a residential flat. So what is specific in it? As I was saying, I plan to save for the down payment for the purchase of a flat. Measurable, the down payment requires 10 lakh rupees. Right? So it is 10 lakh rupees is measurable term. Right? Achievable, I plan to save every month 40,000 rupees from my salary. Realistic, I can save the amount from my current salary of 90,000 per month. See, if my income is 50,000 rupees per month and I start thinking of making a saving of 40,000 rupees, it will be difficult to achieve. I'm not saying it is impossible. It will be difficult to achieve provided I have a family, I have 2 children, I have a spouse who is a homemaker, right? So it will be difficult for me and the vice versa. So I mean the goal should be realistic, because it is a realistic goal that out of 90,000 rupees you save 40,000 rupees, right? So saving approximately 40% is not a very difficult task. So it's a time bound. I want to purchase this flat after n number of years, after 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is, right? So it is time bound. Now, the question is how to achieve these financial goals. After talking of what are the smart financial goals, I said smart financial goals are, it must be measurable, it must be achievable, it must be specific, it must be not impossible, it must be properly timed, right? So these are called smart financial goals. I must make smart financial goals. So what are the steps to achieve financial goals? List down financial goals. What are the different goals I want to achieve? I want to buy. I'm a person of say you are a person of say 18 years, 20 years, right? And you have start giving tuitions to the students. You have start earning X amount of money, and whatever the goals you have to achieve for your higher education, or say for example for your PhDs, for you're an undergraduate student, you want to spend money on your PhD, on your research work, right? You want to join a foreign university. After 3 years down the line, you want to join a foreign university, and with a foreign university, you have to spend that much money. This is your one goal. After 5 years, you will be getting married. So for marriage, you have to make your own arrangement, your marriage expenditure. This is another goal. Right? After marriage, you want to go outside for a trip, right? So for a vacation or for a tour, you want to spend 1 lakh rupees. After 5 years, once you get married, after 3 years of the marriage, you want to buy a car, and so on and so forth. So these are your financial goals. So you have set for yourself 5-6 years financial goals. It may be for a longer duration. I'm just giving an example. So you list down your financial goals, where you want to spend. What is your priority? What are your priorities? What are the different expenditures which you want to meet out, right? Apart from your routine monthly expenditure. Categorize into short term, medium term, and long term, right? So categorize them, that what are your short term goals, what are the goals you want to achieve during the year itself. You want to buy a computer for your education purposes, right? You want to buy a laptop. This is a short term goal. After 3 years, after 5 years, suppose you want to get married. For marriage expenses, you have to meet out. You're an independent person. You want to make expenditure from your own income, right? For marriage, after 5 years, you're planning. You will be requiring 20 lakh rupees for your party and all those things, right? India is a country where we spend heavily on the social occasions also, right? So you want to spend that much money. So you plan, that is a mid-term goal. And the long term, after 15 years, right, you want to buy your own house. It is a long-term goal. So list down, categorize into short-term, medium-term, and long-term. Prioritize these goals in order of your priority. There may be n number of goals. So you want to prioritize, even within the short term, there can be different goals. You want to go for vacation with your friends also, right? You want to buy a laptop, and you want to buy good clothes. You want to buy a motorcycle for yourself. Motorcycle is one thing, buying a laptop is another thing, going on a vacation, going for the vacation is another short-term goal. Out of these 3-4, prioritize them. Which is your first priority? First, when you will make able to save that much money, you will buy laptop for your education purposes, right? So prioritize them 1, 2, 3 like that. Determine your target in the future. How much will it cost to achieve that goal, right? So for say, if I talk of the short-term goal which I was just referring to, right? For laptop, you will be requiring say 75,000 rupees. For vacation, you will be requiring 30,000 rupees, right? For buying a motorcycle, you will be requiring this much sum of money. So you prioritize them, right? And determine your target, how much money you will be needing for achieving each of them. So financial goals I have already talked about. It can be birth and school education for yourself, for your children, college education, purchase of car, entering the familyhood, that is marriage expenses, the purchase of building, flat, marriage of child, retirement, death. These are the different financial goals which you can set for yourselves. So each goal should be prioritized as high, medium or low. This rule applies when we prepare a financial plan for an individual, and that individual may have goals under each of the above category. Determine your target in the future. How much will it cost to achieve that goal? So after talking of these things, in the next lecture, I'll be talking about financial planning. Thank you very much.